Oh man, this is going to be fun. This is going to be real fun. Today, Chapel is going to sit down with One Two Barbecue, and we are going to talk Slayer. Oh yes, and this is a new little podcast we started. We've been talking about the name, and I think we've got the perfect name. One Two Barbecue. What's the name of the podcast?
Individual Thought Patterns Podcast.
That's
so
right.
We usually agree on everything metal except for everything metal. But there are a few things we do agree on, and Slayer happens to be one of them.
Very much one of them.
This is all from my personal collection of Slayers, and there's more, but
this is all we could really fit in the set at the time.
I ran out of room. There's always room for more Slayer, though. I'll go ahead and tell you that. When you gotta buy a bigger house to have more Slayer,
that's a real problem.
That is a problem, or what is? Slayer's the solution.
The solution to the problem. Oh man, so much to cover. I don't know about for you, but first time I saw Slayer, I borrowed an old VHS copy of a bunch of Headbangers Ball from back in like 1992.
Yeah.
And the video for Rain and Blood during the Decade of Aggression album when it came out, the live album.
Mm-hmm.
The video for Rain and Blood was the first time I'd ever seen Slayer, and I just love the whole intro for it and the light show.
Clip or
yeah,
light show.
Yeah, and so but funny thing about that video is Black Magic is played at the end of it, but they don't say Rain and Blood, Black Magic. It just
says Rain
and Blood.
Okay.
So until I got Decade of Aggression, because I was just getting into Slayer, I didn't know that Black Magic was. I thought that was all one song.
What's the song? 7 minutes.
Yeah.
What was your first impression from that? What?
With the way they used those red lights and stuff, for the stage, and Carrie had hair, and Carrie had the big spike armbands, I was hooked the minute I saw the big nails, I was hooked immediately, because it did give me that, like, when you're a 13-year-old kid, you're just kind of like, what is this?
Yeah. This is cool.
This is awesome. Because I like the imagery, and I never heard vocals like that either. I never heard anybody do that style of vocal, even in thrash. I don't know anybody else who sounds like Tom Araya.
No, he's not hitting a note. He does try to sing a little bit. I think on South of Heaven they try to get him to hit notes, but no, just scream.
The scream, yeah, and his early high scream.
I still love that.
Yeah, he couldn't really do it towards the end.
No, he can't.
Who
can?
Right? But it's one thing that I thought made them unique, because I know they were all King Diamond fans too.
Absolutely.
And
everyone.
It shows in
most people agree on King Diamond.
Most people, yeah. King Diamond's awesome.
We actually agree.
We agree on that, yeah. and got to work together on the Invisible Guest cover with Ann Napoleon.
That's right. Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun.
I had to learn stuff. And I play a guitar, guy, so I had to learn stuff. I'm like, I can't do it.
Right.
They're like, you can do it. So I kind of did it. I'll never be. Was that? Who was Andy LaRocque, or was it the other guy? No, it was.
It was God, I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't think it was Andy.
Okay. Anyway. I'll never be able to do what that guy does, but I did something similar, and it actually worked.
Right, but what was the first time you saw Slayer?
My first Slayers. So let's go. You mentioned Headbangers Ball, so I used to stay up late Saturday night to watch. I wanted to see Metallica 1, and because at the time that was not the heaviest metal I heard, that's a great. And Justice is very heavy album anyway.
Right.
It's got some double bass and stuff. So I turned it on waiting for 1, and then War Ensemble comes on, the live version from this here exact album. So that was my first.
How weird is it that our first is Decade of Aggression, era Slayer?
So I see Dave Lombardo with this drums everywhere, and this was before I had drums. I play every instrument, but this was before he had drums all over. There's drums over here. There's drums down there. I don't know how he must have had. There's drums over here. So he's like, so War Ensemble comes on, and I was like, sorry, Metallica.
I have Metallica in the dust in, huh?
At that age, there was no way to see any of that and stay up late for Headbangers Ball. So I was every Saturday, I'd wait for War Ensemble to come on. I'm like, here we go. And then they started grabbing Ricky Rockman. I blamed it on him, but it's probably not his fault. But they started only playing Winger and Slaughter, and no one else remembered Trickster, but I do because I wanted to see Slayer, and they're playing Trickster where my Slayer should be.
Right.
And I'm like, nah, bro. And then Skid Row, and like was walking in the sand, and you know. So if you want to hear War Ensemble and Walking on the Sand or whatever that song was comes on. Back then we didn't have remotes. You just turned the knob off on the old Zenith.
It's like, no.
Nah. As soon as I got licensed, I would drive an hour to go buy Slayer records and Slayer shirts. It's one of my first, 94, probably my first Slayer shirt.
I had that exact same Divine Intervention shirt, man.
It smells like 94.
Right?
smells like skipping class.
Yeah.
And drinking too much soda pop.
I used to get a lot of good looks wearing that exact same shirt in high school.
Yeah.
You know,
I was picked on for a long time, but until I started wearing this Slayer shirt, when people see that shirt, they're like, I ain't messing with that dude.
Right? Yep.
I was 5'3" back then. Now, so
you had a growth spurt.
I've had a growth spurt. I was like, okay, you wear Slayer Demon shirts, no one's gonna bother you.
Right.
So going from that experience, our first, which they've been my favorite band ever since. When was the first time you, Mr. Chappell, saw Slayer live? Where was it? And give me a rundown. I want to know.
Ozfest '99.
That was my Tom Araya.
Gotta hold it. I want to know.
Have you ever seen the Rain? Wait, that's not a Slayer song. Sorry, I get.
I'm pretty. If it was Ozfest '99, there was a lot going on that year. I'm pretty sure it was '99.
'99 had been a good year anyway.
Right.
Not the tire good year, but
right. Yeah,
a good year. For metal.
It was. I remember Ozfest that year. They started burning like a fire in the pit in the grass.
Well, that's
in
safe.
Charlotte. Yeah,
that's
and people were circle
safe.
pitting around it. It was just a plume of smoke.
That's cool.
Coming up. Yeah, I was like, yep, Slayer's playing. Like that was like my first real experience with Slayer live.
Nice.
Was Ozfest, and I've seen them in clubs over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But the last time I saw them when they started off the retirement tour was I never seen them with a big like huge stage show.
Okay.
Like they had like flamethrowers throwing like upside down crosses and and all kinds of pyro, and I was like, man, I've never really. Every time I've seen Slayer, they just relied on a light show, really, not so much a pyro thing. And
they don't need a light show.
They don't know, yeah. But it was cool. It was cool to see, yeah, man. It was pretty cool to see, but yeah, but still that experience, like when Slayer plays, and then you realize there's imminent danger at the same time. That's the experience you want.
Oh yeah.
For your first Slayer experience.
That doesn't go away.
No.
You're in danger as soon as the first.
Yeah.
Then you hear.
Yep.
Whatever they opened with. So what did they open with, and what did they close with?
It's odd. I can't tell you what they opened with. I know that they played. Of course, they played in Rain and Blood, and as a kid, then you want to hear Rain and Blood as to where now it's to me it's the most overplayed Slayer song. So it's not a go-to. It's still a favorite, but I don't.
It's the good closing song.
Right, yeah, it's the good song, yeah.
Get everyone, your last bit of energy out, and then go home, because you're beat after that.
Right, yeah, you're beat after that. Well, I think Diabolus and Musica had just come out.
Mm-hmm.
I want to think that was the recent album, and I know they played like Death Head from it, but it was a lot of, because they only had like 45 minutes or an hour. You know what I mean? They didn't have a big set. I do remember just a lot of the, you know, post-mortem and shit like that, you know.
Luckily with them, they can fit a lot of the old songs in because they're 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'd like to, now I've got to look up, see, I wonder if I can find online what the set was that year. I'm sure that you could find it somewhere online. But that was an amazing, like I said, people circle pit. I'm in the seats and I'm just looking behind me. I just see a big plume of smoke and people circle pitting.
That's so cool.
You know, in the grass. I'm like, damn, glad I didn't have grass seats this time.
Sit in the old fire.
Yep.
I guarantee it's not a Slayer party unless someone falls into it. I guarantee you at least 20 people.
They had fell into it, I'm sure.
And we're glad to be there.
Yeah.
Just sitting there like, this is pretty cool. They built it.
20 some odd years later, you know, showing off their big burn scar.
Road rash.
Just looks like hamburger, you know.
Slayer.
He's like, I just said Slayer 99.
Yeah.
What was your first live experience?
My first Slayers was this is a North Carolina based show, this whole podcast, everything. And it was in the old Ziggy's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I saw this ad, it said Slayer and Ziggy's. I was like, in 2001, no, there ain't no way Slayer, you know, stadium tour Slayer from decades playing Ziggy. And apparently it was just to work out the kinks in their new gear setup and amps.
Really? I didn't know that. I always wondered why they played Ziggy's.
They played there, and I called the venue. I was like, you sure this isn't 5-layer and not Slayer? This you promise this is Slayer, because there's no way Slayer's going to play Ziggy. And they're like, no, it's Slayer. I was like, you sure this isn't 5-layer? You know, I wanted to be that certain.
Right.
And I get there, and Tom walks out, and he's like, what is this? They hadn't played a club that small in 10 years.
Right.
And they opened up with Disciple.
Oh, I love that.
You know, there I was in the front row getting smashed up against the rail. You know, there's Paul 15 feet away just beating Disciple up, and Jeff Hammond's this close to me, probably 6 to 8 feet. You know, you had the rail, then the room for the wonderful security guard to beat you up there in case you went over.
Oh, yes.
But,
I remember those days.
You have the cool one who would help you and the other one who would shove you down. But whatever, it is what it is. Crowd surfers suck, by the way. But I think they closed out with Raining Blood. So you get Disciple and Raining Blood, and man, they just destroyed. They destroyed Ziggy. That place was just, what is this? It was amazing.
Ziggy's had a knack even back then for playing really big acts, booking really big
Everybody
acts.
loves the place.
Yeah.
It's what was it, 300 capacity? Full?
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was very small. It was very small, and it was rickety as shit. And if you had a band there who liked to jump, it felt like, you know,
the whole place,
because everybody's jumping. The whole place felt like it was going to come down.
They had the bathroom with no lights, no stall door. So every once in a while, you know, like, man, I got to pee. I had a beer. Go in there, and there'd be some drunk guy was crapping in the dark with the stall, blowing diarrhea all over the place. No toilet paper, so he probably used his spine shank shirt or whatever. whatever horrible POD shirt.
Oh man. I know Lamb of God did their one of their DVDs. I can't remember if it was Philadelphia or one of the other. I won't think it was Philadelphia. They recorded commentary in Ziggy's parking lot.
Oh, nice.
And on the commentary, you hear Randy Blythe, which I've got sorry. I was going to say, whenever we talk Danzigs, I got another Randy Blythe story.
Oh, yeah, I want to hear it.
And, but Randy's, on the commentary, he's talking about, he's like, we're at Ziggy's, Winston-Salem, and he said, roots, rock, and reggae. You know, that was on the wall there, or up above the stage, roots, rock, and reggae. And he said every time Lamb of God would come there to play, he refused to take a shit in that bathroom. Mm-hmm. So he had a spot out in the woods that he would take a shit every time he would come to play at Ziggy's because he refused.
You better off.
Oh, yeah.
We would go, I'm sorry, I don't care. If I got to pay to get back in, we would go to the steakhouse. There's Wendy's in the steakhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go there and just, typically you would go there to eat something small because, of course, nobody had no money. We all had to ride in one car. So we would buy something small so they would know us and recognize, like, there's these nerdy kids with all these Slayer shirts on. And they were like, hey, we're just going to use the bathroom. So if you had violent diarrhea, which is common for... You get nervous at the Slayer show, like, I'm not going to the bathroom at Ziggy's. I'm sorry.
No.
Just go in my pants like that.
Right.
We'll go
like, I don't need chlamydia that bad.
Again.
Oh, man. But yeah, back to Slayer. I mean, how many other experiences have you had live seeing Slayer? You didn't get to see them for this last tour.
I only got to see them once on that tour, 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Right when 9/11 happened and this particular album came out, but to me that's the heyday. Although I like the songs after that album too. Man, you had Paul, you had Jeff, you had everybody, and the music was like intense.
Mm-hmm.
So you got intense, like sleeping outside in the woods. Intense,
right?
Sorry.
Dad joke for the day.
But man, they were just destroying the place. Just like, whoa, like, you only see him in video. You only see him, so to see him in such a, I always thought Kerry King was 13 feet tall because of his attitude. And I look over there and I was like, man, that guy's, he's just as tall as Danzig.
Right, yeah.
And he had shaved his head, so the way he headbang was does this with that.
Yep.
And then his turkey solos and out of key turkey solos, which that's what those songs need anyway.
Right.
I got Hanneman had his big motorcycle boots where you can't bend your legs straight, so he just like there like that. He didn't even look at the guitar.
Right.
Some of those riffs are complicated, and he's like, "What?"
Yep. Jeff was.
I think he did. I think he took the marijuana.
Just a little bit, I'm sure.
I think he took those.
Took them marijuana pills.
He was on those CBDs or whatever. I don't know.
Jeff
I'm low on fire. I'm not high. I don't know.
I think Jeff wrote some of my favorite songs too, like the slower stuff.
That's the stuff.
Like I'm pretty sure he was made like Dead Skin Mask. I mean, Bloodline.
That's the hits. He wrote the hits.
Yeah.
The slower songs were the moodier, the evil sounding.
But how weird was it? He had like the most punk mentality when it came to it, but at the same time he wrote like you said, the hits, which was very, very strange for somebody with such a punk mentality.
Yeah. His punk songs, though, on Undisputed, they're awesome.
Yeah.
They're not slow at all.
Mm-mm.
Some people don't like Undisputed. I loved it. I was like, this is cool, man. They covered Minor Threat. They covered all these cool bands that I liked anyway.
Right.
So, I'm a fan. I don't dislike any Slayer album.
Right. Even Diabolus and Musica.
I like it too.
Right.
Mainly, let's see, my favorite.
Stain of Mind.
Nope. Love to Hate's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's, I don't know, it's so cool. Oh, there's a
extra CD.
I don't know why there's a System of a Down CD. Toxicity of your city.
Get out of my Slayers.
So, if you ever want to know what I think about them,
right, that pretty much said it.
There you go.
For me, it's like that was Slayer trying to still be Slayer, yet try to be a more groove-based band because that's where heavy music was at that time.
At that time, yeah,
it was very groove-based, new metal.
Jeff hated that record.
Right.
He even said he's like, I hated music at the time. I think Kerry
said the same thing. Kerry was depressed. Because
like,
the music scene,
thrash was boom.
Yeah.
Then you get the low tune, and there's nothing wrong with the 7 strings and all that, but it's not the same kind of aggression. It's more of a, well, they're both kind of bass angry aggression, but it's a different. I don't know. I can't explain the difference. They're both heavy.
Yeah.
So I just like. I don't know.
It is my probably one of my least favorite Slayer records.
I get that.
Because it is the most un-Slayer record out of all their shit.
I mean, they were trying to fit their old sound into modern, and that's not what we want.
Right. Well, for me, it was kind of hard. Like Christ Illusion and World Painted Blood. Not that they were bad records, but after God Hates Us All, it was kind of like,
God Hates Us All.
It just,
That is a beast of a record. That was the Slayer. I think they made up for Diabolus.
Mm-hmm. Hardcore. 110%.
I was like, at the time I had a 1986 vehicle, and I had no volume control on my CD player because it was aftermarket, and of course someone wired it wrong. So as soon as you put a CD in, I was like, I'm getting speeding tickets all of a sudden. That's like the loudest record I ever heard, and it was awesome. That was like.
Yeah, it's still one of my favorite Slayer albums, and like I said earlier, like it came out on September 11th, 2001, and it got pulled off the shelves like immediately.
Still sold though.
Yeah, and they had to. I mean, because that's like the actual cover they wanted, right?
Yeah.
And then they had to redo it with the crosses because mine has the crosses.
I've got that one. I don't know where the cover went.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And then when you take the cover off, it's got the actual cover for the album.
Then it's got the Spice Girls. I got mine at Walmart. You open it, Spice Girls, and the Happy Puppies.
Right.
And there's cheetahs and zebras getting along, sharing lollipops. Because that's what people do when they listen to Slayer.
Exactly.
Now, one thing I like about Tom Araya is if the pit gets too rough, Tom will stop the show. Or if the security guards are beating up the crowd, he'll stop the show like, listen, dumb butt.
Yeah.
You mother foe. You stop that there, fella. In that exact
shakes his fingers.
It's like, listen there, fellas.
Yeah.
I'm upset. And he does that. It's that's my Tom.
That's
Tom
your impression. Yeah. That's
pretty
great.
Perfect.
Pitch perfect.
Yeah. Like the movie.
I've actually never seen it.
I know. I don't think Slayer's in it though.
Well, Disciple was definitely that.
Oh, that's the best.
One of my all-time favorite songs.
That's the aggression.
It's definitely in my top 10 of all time. And that really fit that was like the most Slayer song I'd heard in years. You know, and heavy, like the tone of the guitar tone's heavy.
They had the anger back on.
Yeah.
See, they missed out some anger. Now they had half anger on Diabolus, and Undisputed was angry, but it's covers of
covers of punk. Yeah,
you have to play angry. You can't play hardcore punk.
But then again, like I said, Christ Illusion and World Painted Blood. It's not that they're bad records. They're very much Slayer records. I mean, that's what you expect. But for me, it's almost like the production and tone went down compared to this.
Yeah,
record. You know what I mean?
The rawness of it still sounded like an underground record, but everything was still produced really well.
Yeah.
And not that these aren't produced well.
Right.
But this had the aggression.
Yeah.
The old school aggression, like they're angry at something, they mad at something.
Yeah.
These two are, I don't know. Jeff Hanneman said Matt Hyde is an idiot.
Really?
Yeah, he said that. He said all he does is look at his laptop and press buttons. He missed the older production.
Yeah.
So there must be something to it. Because Hanneman didn't like the guitar tone.
Yeah, I thought it sounded, it didn't sound
compressed.
Yeah. Very much so. That's like I said, like when you come off God Hates Us All and then you hit those two records and it was just like, man, it's Slayer, but I'm not feeling that like I said, that anger in the sound.
Yeah. The meat and potatoes is gone. Slayer's a fighting Urukai orc.
Yeah.
With a big axe.
Yeah.
That's what Slayer is. Or really a big sword. One of the big swords. So
did some kind of orc,
this one's
snorted some orc drugs and went into battle.
On these two, which they're still good albums.
Yeah.
The tone of it was like, let's take this orc and make him like, those crappy nerdy orcs from the other orcs. They're like
the gangly looking orcs.
Yeah, they're crackhead looking orcs, and they had switchblades all of a sudden. Like,
yeah.
You hurt my feelings. Facebook's on the MySpace. Like, you hurt my feelings, orc. The tone's not there.
Yeah. And I get it. It's like I said, it's there. I like hearing those songs live.
Yeah, live.
A lot better than I like hearing the album.
100 times better.
Yeah.
Way better. Way better. Way more gooder.
Way more gooder. Now, I like Hell Awaits, being...
That's raw and nasty.
It's raw and nasty,
yeah.
But because it's supposed to sound underproduced.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? As to where this, I expect better. I don't expect that in the first record.
I think there's Sony on that, and Sony has to have this
certain
bit rate and compression rate. Like, we want you to sound like Justin Bieber or who, I don't know, whatever. That's
right.
Whatever thrash band, just like Justin Bieber.
Yeah, and what was the last record with Repentless? Is it called Repentless?
Yeah.
Is
that up here?
No, I don't see it. I don't see it. It's not up here.
It's in my car. I am missing a Slayer album, guys, but it's in my car. But I drove an hour to go buy it at a store.
Some hardcore Slayer fans didn't like it. I liked the record. Excuse me, even though Hanneman wasn't on it. I liked the energy. It felt like a Slayer record. Gary Holt is amazing.
Yeah.
He's the right fit for that band, but at the same time, he's just not Jeff Hanneman.
No.
You're not going to get you're not going to get that again.
Mm-hmm.
So I still felt like if anybody could do it, why not somebody else who's an icon of thrash be his replacement in the band? And I thought his guitar work was great. But at the same time, it's not my favorite Slayer record.
No.
But the production was there on that one.
Yeah, they did have the production. Great. It was more raw. Or the guitars were just louder.
Yeah.
I wish they would have let, because he was a fan of Slayer, and sometimes there's those fan bands of Slayer. Sometimes they can out-Slayer. So I wish they would have let the old boy write a few songs. He only got to write 2 leads.
Yeah.
And they were good.
Yeah, they're really good.
Because he's a great guitarist. I don't know if that's Carrie's 5'4", but his ego's 15 feet tall.
Right.
And I love the guy.
Right.
He's just an angry short guy.
Yeah.
But man, if I had clearly better guitarists, it's no secret.
Yeah.
That guy's one of the best thrash guitarists.
Period.
I'd let the guy write, man.
Yeah, for sure. Breathe some new life into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Give him 2 songs.
Yeah.
And I bet they would be 2 of the best ones on the album.
For sure. And I think he would help encapsulate the spirit while pushing it forward at the same time.
Yeah. I dig Repentless better than those 2 albums. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Especially sound-wise.
Yeah.
It's definitely, sound-wise just blew it out of the water.
Absolutely.
And I rocked it for a pretty good while,
It's still in my car.
Why is it still in your car? Oh, man. I can remember a friend of mine in school. I was spending the night, and his brother had divine intervention, and he had he's the one who showed me the kid who had carved Slayer into his arm.
Yeah.
On the thing. And the first time I see that, and just seeing the Serenity and Murder here, where the kid with Slayer carved in his back. I mean, it's used to see that all the time.
I think that was live in Paris, I drove an hour to get those 2. I don't know if you can see them on our fancy camera setup.
Right.
They're 2 different, and each one has a different live track. And I think they're like $20. I would work 5 in the morning at some crappy job back. I think I was making $3.15 an hour. So
right.
That's half your check.
Yeah.
Drive an hour, spend half my check on Slayer. That's how long it's been with me. I've been with Slayer a long time. And I don't regret 1 second. I love the guys, man.
Yeah, they're definitely one of those bands that have stuck with me since I was 13 years old. 13, 14 years old. Yeah. And I'm 39 now, and it's still with me.
Like I was 12. We're pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm 26. My name's Kyler Brevinson, and I'm 26. And I'm a barista at the coffee place. What's the coffee place?
Talia's?
No. Starbucks. I'm at Starbucks. Come see me.
I was doing the local. You work for a corporate conglomerate?
Yo, they not corporate. Shut up. You stupid dummy.
Oh, man.
What'd you think of what's your favorite? I mean, honestly, my favorite Slayer videos are the live Decade of Aggression, but the ones they released for sale, like VHS and DVD. What's your favorite Slayer DVD or VHS? Because they've had 4
so many.
5 undergrounds. They've had the underground ones you could buy.
You know what I did enjoy is when they did the whole, it was a live DVD. Was it the 25th anniversary of Rain and Blood, where they were covered in blood and they played the show?
Yeah.
That was one I remember the DVD getting that. Or I like a lot of the live stuff.
I watch them all the time. All the time.
I'm trying to think of the other one. It was like
War at the Warfield.
War at the Warfield.
Real good.
Yeah, that was a really killer live DVD.
They got the material to always have good shows.
Yeah. Well, and being that, not all their songs, some of their songs are only 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then some, like everyone once in a while you'll get a 6 or 7 minute song, but
Seasons in the Abyss had the longest songs.
Yeah. And it's one of my favorite records.
Me too. That had the epic feel.
Yeah.
There's some kind of eerie whatever reverb they used to finalize the album.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about the album, man.
The sound, yeah.
But everything's so fast, but you can still hear everything. So that's.
I know Rick Rubin gets a producing credit on some of those early ones that were on Deaf American Records, but is it really him or is it Kerry? You know what I mean? Like,
who knows?
Because Rick was, especially with some of these metal bands, he was focusing so much on the bigger projects that, like Slayer and Danzig.
He was doing what, Reload, and they're trying to get. So this is what happened. Kerry got mad at him for a little bit because he was like, "Oh, I'm too busy to produce the record," and he's like, "Oh, that's fine. We'll get Matt Hyde," and he went and did a Metallica album.
Yeah, he did the Death Magnetic record.
Is that the one with the really good snare?
It sounds good. The music, to me, the Death Magnetic was the one with the coffin on the cover, and to me, it was like the songs were good, but the mix was terrible. It just sounded bad. It was another one. It was one of those, it's like, okay, we've mixed it how we want it. We ship it to the record company, and then the record company compresses it, and it just sounds terrible.
Okay.
And they want to make it louder. They, it's like we want everything to be louder, and louder is not
radio loud.
Yeah, and that just, to me, ruined the whole sound of the record for me. But that was the one that Rick done, and I think that was around the time.
Was it Chris Illusion?
Was it
Christy Illusion?
Christy Illusion or World Painted Blood? One of the two. It was around that era, because that's the Matt Hyde, era.
It might have been World Painted Love.
Right, World Painted Love.
World Painted Love.
Slayer and
plenty of sanctuary. That's if they were a pop band.
Right. Yeah.
World Painted Love.
World Painted Love. But he did the same thing to Danzig. Danzig was producing his own records pretty much, but not getting I think the band got a co-producing credit, but Rick is getting the credit for something that he's not doing. So I'm not sure how much Rick had to do with any of those early,
Who knows? Yeah.
Who knows?
I think he did have more to do with the
earlier stuff, but come on.
Kerry said Rick would walk in on whatever the last one he was on, and he walk in and he goes, change that, do that, all right, and then he'd be gone for the day. So he'd listen for a minute.
Right.
And here we go. Write more songs. That's what he would say. Write more songs. Right now, he might have a point on that.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, that's not Slayer. Write more songs. Write more songs. Write more songs. But come on, Slayer's been in the game long enough.
Right.
They didn't need to pay $200,000 to have some guy walk in for 5 minutes.
Right.
Write more songs.
Did Rick get a? Now I'm wondering. I want to see if Rick got the producing credit. Nope. Hyde still got the credit for.
See, Hyde did good on that one.
Yeah.
I bet because there was less.
It says executive producer Rick Rubin.
Of course.
So
he make his
but Matt's the one who really.
Matt did good on that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there was less technology back then.
Mm-hmm.
They just started to have computers.
Right.
I mean, they always had computers, but back then you had you're mixing into a big, big
you got
recorder.
a big board. Yeah.
You got to move everything, and then eventually they had automatic. I don't know. I record on an 8-track. I don't know. I'm not current at all, and that's fine with me.
Well, man, if you were given the ultimatum, what's your 2 favorite Slayer songs?
2 favorite Slayer songs? Can I pick all of the Slayer songs and then just listen to them twice? Yeah.
Trying to find a loophole, huh?
Yeah. That's a tough one. So, not that I thought about it, but I'm thinking about it. My second favorite has got to be the actual song Hell Awaits from the album Hell Awaits. It's got that ominous feeling. You hear down. I would call it a grind. Like the grind from Lord of the Rings. The grind.
Yeah,
like,
the grind. The battering ram.
They thought they won, and they're like, cool, man, these orcs ain't doing nothing. And here comes the grind.
Yeah.
And they're like, is that Slayer? He's like, fly, you fools! Fly! And Slayer comes, game over. So Hell Awaits then that's my, I mentioned double bass before. That's the first time I heard like that cool groovy double bass. So Dave's doing it. I was like, what is that? Because my kit only had one. I hadn't heard of much double bass.
Right, yeah.
And of course it was there for years since the 1800s, and all those old death metal bands from the 1800s.
The 1800s death metal bands.
But I like that simple, barbaric, just beating on the tongue.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I love that. That was the first drum beat I tried to learn. I was like, this is cool, just because it grooves. It's not, I'm sure now the new kids just like, oh, why didn't you do
right,
no, because it fit the song.
Right, exactly.
He wrote just to fit the energy of that song. And I'm like, man, something bad gonna happen. And
right,
then, so that's my second favorite, just because the ominous is still powerful to me. And then, my first one would be, and I actually heard it on a live album first, At Dawn They Sleep.
Yes.
Because it has all the Slayers, all the tritones, and then it speeds up and slows down, and then you get this like, okay, now we're gonna do a drum solo in the middle of it for no reason. He's like,
right,
and I'm like, this is awesome. Like,
yeah.
Like, look at all this stuff that's going on. There's so much going on. There's so much going on, Corey.
It's the epitome of Slayer.
Yeah, it's the exact.
You know,
there's leads everywhere, and none of them make sense, and it's like everything. it's chaos.
It's a true Slayer song.
Controlled chaos.
Controlled chaos.
At Dawn They Sleep is still my favorite after all these years.
Wow.
So, what about you?
Well, my second probably favorite is Angel of Death. I mean, the whole Nazi concentration camp. I mean, what's scarier than that's real life? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's taking real life horror.
They're not pro-Nazi.
No, not at all.
They're not racist either. They're just presenting what happened.
It was facts. I mean, it's one thing like we do Gothmog, and we can write fantasy based off of, you got this whole satanic imagery or whatnot, and you can build off of that in so many ways, but it's still fantasy. As to where something like Angel of Death, Dr. Mengele was a real person.
Yeah.
And he experimented on people, and and Auschwitz, that's real life horror. You took something that was real life and made a horror song out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember reading the stories about how skinheads would come to their shows because they thought they were, for some reason, some Nazi band, and they were, Tom Morena's Spanish.
Yeah.
Blatantly Spanish guy.
Yeah.
But I like that they were just using a pretty much a real life horror story and made a really killer song out of it. And I love Tom's scream. That's him doing that really high scream.
For years, I thought that was a guitar.
Really?
No lie. Before I saw VHS and all that, it was like, I was like, man, that guitar sounds sick, bro.
Right.
And it was Tom.
Yeah, Tom's killing it. And the last time I seen him play, he definitely couldn't do that high anymore. But I mean, he was still doing it. Even like I don't think like 99. I want to think they did Angel of Death, and he still did the scream.
Yeah.
But that was one of them things that set Slayer apart. Because everybody just thought it was just choppy vocals all the time,
mm-hmm.
and he could really do some cool screams. I thought.
Yeah. Great.
Probably my favorite song of all time by Slayer is Dead Skin Mask.
That's a great moody.
Oh yeah, and one of my favorites to hear live because Tom changes up that whole intro vocal. You know what I mean? It's like, where he says, please stay a while. I promise I won't keep you long. I'll keep you forever. But when he does it live, he's like, forever.
Yeah.
I love the live version when he does it. That means more when he does it, when he screams that last,
oh, yeah.
The forever. And just like you said, the moodiness and just, that was another one of them slow Heinemann songs.
Yep. Master of them.
Yeah, and that captured, like, the fast stuff is one thing, but they could still write a slower song that could capture a really good evil tone and sound.
Yeah.
And
Seasons
really
had that whole album. Seasons had the whole evil tone.
Yeah.
It kind of lost some of that guitar tone. I don't know what ambient. It was on. They lost the ambiance on a few albums after that. But
yeah.
Seasons was like, what is? They had the ambiance.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of like Seasons and South of Heaven. Those are like, I like those albums back to back are just beautiful. Like that's some of my favorite Slayer. Is those two records, and I think that's where they showed that they could write a slower song on those records and still
have fast ones.
Yeah, still have fast ones, but they could still write a slow song and people wouldn't go, "Oh man, Slayer's selling out." You know what I mean? No, it's still Slayer.
No, it's still Slayer. Yeah. They just wanted to be like, "Hey, we can do slow stuff too."
Yeah, for sure.
It's just as heavy.
Right.
I'm fine with Rain and Blood, but I can crank up. Well, that's why this is the perfect album, Decade of Aggression.
It's got everything.
It's got everything.
Yeah.
There's, you might have hit or miss with Diabolus and Illusion, but buddy, I'll tell you what, Decade of Aggression live is the way to go.
I was freshman year of high school.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was like, oh God, we were in Virginia Beach. The band, the school band.
Slayer was in Virginia Beach.
No, but I bought Slayer in Virginia Beach. I bought
nice.
that. I went to a record store in Virginia Beach, and I wish I could remember the name of the store. It wasn't.
It was Virginia Beach Record Store.
Probably, that would be it. And I come out with Decade of Aggression.
Yeah.
And from that, like, it took me. I only would buy new albums because that had everything on it.
It's got everything.
It had everything on it, so I didn't buy the older Slayer albums till like much later in life because I had all the songs I wanted.
Well, the thing is,
CD, and it sounded just as good.
It's inclusive because there's so many songs on it.
Yeah.
They're low. Look at it! There's so many songs.
And the booklet has all the cool pictures and stuff from the
flips
tour.
To a poster. I was like, what is all this? You get everything, man.
Oh yeah, man.
That's it. It's in my top 5 favorite Slayer albums just because it's got all the best Slayer albums on it. It's like, here's all the good stuff. And by the way, we're at a giant stadium.
Right. And, so much content, so much history. And ripped off. I mean, lot of bands rip them off.
Tons.
You know,
but usually the rip-off bands are good too.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I'm like, I still like that.
The band Havoc did a cover. I'm trying to remember which Slayer cover they did. I think they did. I'm pretty sure they did.
Champagne Supernova.
Yes.
Champagne.
Oasis.
Super. Nova.
But they did some really good Slayer covers, and that's a type of band that really could capture that spirit as well. You know, because they're one of these bands that's come out in the past 10 years that really has that thrash vibe down.
Yeah, there was a good revival.
Yeah,
I think Municipal Waste kind of spearheaded that thrash hardcore revival.
Going back, yeah, because they were wearing those old school flip up bill hats and shit.
I hope they're still doing it. I went and saw them. Gosh, it's been 5-6 years ago. They were awesome live, and the place was packed. It was actually at the new Ziggy's before it got shut down.
Right. Oh man.
And that place was packed.
Oh yeah.
See Municipal. They had Torch, which I don't like mixed bills that much. Torch doesn't match Municipal.
They definitely don't. I saw Torch at Silent Rock Fest.
They're great.
Yeah, they're
They
good
need
band.
to be with Clutch.
Yeah, or something like that.
They need to be with High on Fire. They don't need to be with Municipal Waste. But when Torch, I felt bad for them. When Torch came on, half the crowd walked out. They wanted to see thrash. When you go to a thrash show, I want to see thrash.
Right.
And you know, I still support that band. I bought an album and a shirt. I'm lying, I didn't. I bought drinks for the I want to see thrash, dude.
Yeah.
Don't mess with my thrash. You can mix all your bills, but you don't mess with my thrash.
Right.
I want to see thrash. So
Perfect.
I'm getting my shirt back.
Oh. Before we get off here, I want to get a good shot of all this really cool stuff. 1-2 Barbecue is set up for everybody. All this Slayer records and
Sorry, y'all.
oh, and that Divine Intervention necklace. Don't know where he got that from.
I appreciate it. That's a great gift. I was being gifted.
That was
really
that was a
appreciate
gift for helping me do black metal with Gothmog. So and I've had that since high school. So it was I'm glad I got to give that to you. You know, it being the big Slayer fan. But guys, we're going to get off here.